Do-Rag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Y2K 18.04.09, Dean's birthday. 181 days until the midterms. And here we are. We must have a Supreme Court dedicated to justice, not to politics, part 2. When birther bastard traitor Trump was running to destroy our country, he promised his religious extremist Taliban supporters that he would nominate justices and Supreme Court justices that they will love. Don't worry about right-wing extremist constitutionalist Justice Scalia being dead. Traitor Trump promised that under him there would be thousands of Scalias. Does this sound like the makings of a nonpartisan Supreme Court? A Supreme Court dedicated to the rule of law, to justice? Jamie Fuller listed several possible solutions to this problem in her article for the Washington Post entitled, "Have American Politics Killed the Impartial Supreme Court?" By the way, the article was really not about solutions. The article is about how our politics, our partisanship has corrupted the Supreme Court, the picking of justices and the like. It doesn't give me very much hope at the end, because as she says at the end of her article, that people are going to like the judges if they rule in their favor and hate them if they don't. And that's not what democratic republics are like. That is not what justice is like. Jamie Fuller, used a survey from Democracy Corp that suggests possible Supreme Court reform proposals. Requires Supreme Court justices to follow the U.S. Judicial Code of Conduct, the ethical code that all other lower court justices, federal court justices, must follow. Why are Supreme Court justices allowed to ignore this? The survey notes that 72% of us strongly support this reform. Requires Supreme Court justices to disclose any outside activities paid for by others, such as flights on private planes, speaking fees, and gifts, and report these in their annual financial disclosure reports. The survey notes that 67% strongly support this reform. Abolish the practice of lifetime appointments for Supreme Court justices, and instead allow justices to serve only a fixed 18 years. The survey notes that 54% strongly support this reform. I personally would want each justice to be limited to one 10-year term. 18 years, my friends, is too long, and still allowing justices to screw up a whole generation. Just 49% of us strongly support a reform to allow audio broadcasts of the Supreme Court in session to be heard either on the internet or on the radio. And just 38% of us want a reform where justices must disclose a summary of their financial reports online for all to see. The present way that we pick justices is beyond reproach and borders on totalitarianism. Each branch of our federal government is supposed to be equal in power. So how is such an idea reinforced when the legislative and especially the executive branch can make the choice? Say I am a hard leftist president with absolutely no compunction but to pick a hard left Supreme Court justice as myself, who is not even required to follow the U.S. Judicial Code of Conduct. This does not sound like justice to me. It sounds like a travesty of justice, a mockery of all that we are supposed to stand for. We now have a dictator in power, an evil traitor named Trump, who has proven time and again that he does not respect our Constitution, our three-branch government, and our rule of law. Nobody with that kind of mentality should be allowed to appoint justices, let alone allowed to run our entire country. If Kennedy retires from the court and the Trump creep can't appoint another justice, especially in light of the fact that Gorsuch seating was robbery, we will then have a destroyed court and perhaps beginning of the end of our government. I realize that there may be other important things to report in the news, especially since Trader Trump took us out of the Iran nuclear deal because they want to go to war in the worst way possible. He has such a hard-on to put us into war, that son of a bitch, that piece of crap. And now he has the enabling creeps in his cabinets to do it. He is poisoning our environment, this creep Trump, and screwing up our public lands, our holy public lands. Because there's more holy lands in this world than just in the Middle freaking East. He is a racist turd with a Putin agenda. If this creep has his way, there will never be a need for a Supreme Court or any court, because all of us will be buried under boiling hot nuclear mud. In any event, we must get rid of the kangaroo Supreme Court we have now and replace it with the one that is supposed to respect the rule of law. Partisan presidents do not respect our Constitution and should not be allowed to pick Supreme Court justices, especially for a lifetime.